New card releases are always tough as a content creator. You're expected to have a fully formed opinion on a game piece that has not really begun to show any of what it can do within about 24 hours of that game piece releasing. But Cosmic Ghost Rider might be the absolute hardest card to evaluate that I have ever discussed on this channel. Cosmic Ghost Rider is a 5/7 with an on reveal that removes the text from the front row cards at the location that you play it at. Your enemies' cards in their front row lose their text. Baseline, this plays and reads to me like a bigger Red Guardian with probably worse stats for the cost. One of the cool things about Red Guardian was that it was able to go in a lot of different places because it cost 3. This does not do that, but it still has a relevant effect for a 5 cost card at 7 power. It's not going to be the greatest card of all time, but it does do very powerful stuff when it works. But there are certain hoops you have to jump through, and there have to be things that you actually want to target with it in order for it to be good. One interesting commonality between this card and Red Guardian is that both of them kind of hate seeing a Sam Wilson shield, because Sam Wilson's shield can very often sit in the front row and prevent you from hitting more important stuff in the back row. Cosmic Ghost Rider is interesting. I'm not going to sit here and say this is a bad card. It's a tech card, but it doesn't necessarily lend itself to a lot of deck building. And that's really the dynamic I wanted to talk about. I have a couple of decks here. Some of them have some inbuilt synergy with Cosmic Ghost Rider in some relatively small ways. For example, you play Killmonger decks, and those will allow you to hit bigger targets with your Cosmic Ghost Rider because you're getting rid of the stuff they play early, so more things with more impactful abilities are going to be in the front row as those cards go away. That kind of stuff is relevant. This card is really good in certain specific spots. Like, it's kind of unbelievably powerful against discard, being able to turn off things like Bullseye and Morbius, sometimes both depending on the way they play. Just a lot of really strong stuff that it does in that matchup specifically. There are Scream decks that are able to move your opponent's cards around, again, so you can hit the cards you actually want to hit with the Cosmic Ghost Rider. But because this card is so dependent on what it's hitting, because this is a tech card in the truest sense of the word, this is a card that is hard to deck build around. A lot of the time when Marvel Snap makes cards, they make cards that are like, oh, I'm going to build a deck around this. Cosmic Ghost Rider is not that. He is basically the opposite of that. You put him in a deck that can facilitate him well, and he'll be pretty okay. But right now, if I had to guess, when I look at this card and I look at Red Guardian got better and better over time. I think this card is so prohibitively costed that it will find it hard to have that Red Guardian trajectory. I've enjoyed playing it. I think it's a nice thing to have in your collection, but I don't necessarily think that this is going to be the only possible answer to a variety of situations that are going to come up, because there are likely to be other cards that are relevant in there. One possible thing that could drive you to end up wanting to purchase Cosmic Ghost Rider, though, is that next season has a bunch of activate cards, and this is a very relevant card if your opponent is trying to set up a Jocasta lane, for example. Jocasta, for the record, is a card coming out next season that activates all of your activate cards at the location that it's played at. So this is the kind of thing, being able to interact with activate, that might be worth having in your back pocket. But because I can't see the future, I can't know how good that's going to be. And if it's not good, then you're not going to feel as good about getting this. Generally, this is a card that is there to solve problems for whatever ends up happening. It can be good against Invisible Woman decks. It could probably be good in the future against Jocasta decks. But it doesn't necessarily lend itself to building around it as a card. That said, this was the best deck I played with Cosmic Ghost Rider in it. There's a couple of just baseline strong synergies happening here. You have your Cosmic Ghost Rider, which means you want to get rid of stuff that has a lower impact on the board. So a lot of curve out Negasonics, a lot of Killmongers, meaning that Cosmic Ghost Rider is very often going to be able to hit those valuable, juicier targets that would normally be in the back line but are not, thanks to the way you've removed a lot of their frontline abilities. This does make sense as a Cosmic Ghost Rider shell, but it's sort of misleading, I think, to call this a Cosmic Ghost Rider deck, because if we're being very honest about this, this is just playing all the good cards, right? Like, we're doing our Fenris Wolf, Negasonic, we're doing all of our ridiculous stuff, Cannonball Mercury, look at all of our stuff. Like, it's not exactly a Cosmic Ghost Rider deck. It's a deck that uses Cosmic Ghost Rider and facilitates Cosmic Ghost Rider to a degree with the Negasonic Killmonger stuff. It's almost sad for Cosmic Ghost Rider, because I actually do think that this is a fairly clever way to try to build around the card. Like, in as much as a card like this is capable of being built around, doing so in a shell that cares a lot about specific interactions, that plays Negasonic and Killmonger, that is the kind of thing that does actually make sense as building around this card in as much as that is possible. But you end up with a card that is simply slotting into what is already very good. And it makes it very difficult to determine whether or not this card is meaningfully upgrading the shell or not. I think you could just play Juggernaut instead, right? Like, that seems very extremely possible here. Now, that said, I did have a ton of fun with this deck. Cosmic Ghost Rider was relevant a time or two. He did some really decent stuff a decent amount of the time, but he also was far from stellar. This was not a card that I came away with thinking, wow, that really dominated the game outside of like the one game I played against Discard. This was just a card that was in my deck that was pretty okay, and a lot of the rest of what was happening was really the rest of the deck doing well. And I think that's sort of what this card is going to be like. There are probably going to be a lot of videos out there, maybe this one included, depending on how I decide to title it, that are like, wow, look at this win rate with Cosmic Ghost Rider. And it's like, yes, that win rate did happen with Cosmic Ghost Rider in your deck, but how much of that win rate was due to Cosmic Ghost Rider? It's hard to say. I do think this deck was awesome. So if you did pick up Cosmic Ghost Rider and you want the best deck to play with him, I do think it is this. I went 20 and 10. We're going to put some gameplay footage of it on the back end. It was great. This is a great deck right now. I just don't know how much of that is attributable to Cosmic Ghost Rider. He was pretty damn solid, and I did enjoy having him in here, but it was far from a Cosmic Ghost Rider deck. The same applies here, but even further. Like, I messed around with a couple of different Wiccan shells for Cosmic Ghost Rider, and frankly came away more disappointed with Wiccan than anything else that was happening here. The problem is, when you play stuff like this, when you build around Wiccan, you build around Cosmic Ghost Rider, you're like, I want to play more Cosmic Ghost Rider. You kind of end up making the whole deck worse. The deck is already a very streamlined package, so you end up losing out on a 3 or losing out on a 2, and then your Wiccan is less viable, and you have all these top-end cards that are only really good if you're Wiccaning. Like, yeah, there's cool stuff happening here, but this is one of those cases where I think you, like, a lot of the time people take a good shell for a new card, especially a tech card, and make it, like, a little bit worse, or side grade it, or maybe it gets a little bit better depending on how good the tech card is. This is one of those cases where I think the cost of this card and the way it plays with Wiccan stuff actively makes the Wiccan game plan worse. It's not like it's a bad card to have when you are Wiccan game planning, but cutting cards in order to make it fit, the Luna Snow thing that's happening here, I think it's cool, but I don't exactly feel like it is upgrading the deck. I strongly suspect like a more streamlined, lower to the ground, higher investment in just making sure that your consistent game plan happens as much as it possibly can, that version of the deck likely ends up superior, rather than a version that is trying to play a questionably useful reactive card like Cosmic Ghost Rider. Now, the one thing about Cosmic Ghost Rider that sticks out is a lot of people on day one are consciously playing around it. And it's possible that this card does end up getting better and better and better, in much the same way that Red Guardian was a card that grew on a lot of people, rather than a card that was just instantly released. Everyone is like, this is awesome. It just kind of gradually kept making it into decks consistently. But as is, I would probably rather play Red Guardian than Cosmic Ghost Rider in this deck, because I need another 3, right? Like, it's kind of doing the same thing, but I need a 3 so I can curve out. And that's kind of what ultimately holds this card back, if anything does. It has to go in shells that can carry the weight of it being a 5-drop, rather than not doing that. Last up is the Ika Scream deck, and Scream is very much doing the same thing, where it's like, okay, yes, you can do this. But if I'm being super honest, I think the better build of Scream is doing the wave stuff. That's the deck I did the video on just yesterday, and I don't think that this is adding too much to the deck. It's just a nice little thing to have. Now, granted, Scream doesn't get to play decent tech cards a lot of the time, and being able to move your stuff around and get cool things out of it is good. The deck really likes 5s. If you are able to play a 5 and a Miles Morales, that's a thing you're a huge fan of. Like, this is a good fit for Cosmic Ghost Rider, and I don't want to act like it isn't. I think it's a solid, solid thing to do. But if Cosmic Ghost Rider isn't doing anything of meaning, which does happen a decent amount of the time, it's just a 5/7. And just a 5/7 doesn't cut it a lot of the time. This is notably interesting. Like, I do think that it's notable that you have this move your opponent's stuff around and then make sure you hit the good targets with this. Like, this is the kind of card that I think in Scream specifically can bring you a lot closer to beating the Invisible Woman first steps type of decks. The problem is, what I don't think it does is get you closer to beating V-Hand. And I think that's a matchup that you really have to worry about. I don't think it gets you closer to beating V-Hand. I don't think it gets you closer to beating Wiccan. It's really just the Invisible Woman first steps decks that it's closing the gap against. And I think that you end up in trouble in those other matchups still based on being a Scream deck. And that is... it's nice, again, but I don't know if it's the best use of that 12th slot. The real question for Cosmic Ghost Rider is how he ages in the future. If more things are Activate-based, which looks like we have an Activate season coming up, this could be an amazing, amazing card. The season pass coming out next season is Viv Vision, who is probably going to be in the front line a lot of the time. Getting rid of her is a really powerful thing to do, although turn 5 might be too late to do it. There are a bunch of use cases for this card, but I don't know how many of them are realistically actually happening. And I think that this is a very, very interesting card. Like, it's definitely the kind of card I would like to have, but it's also not the kind of card I would feel pressured to get immediately until there is a compelling reason to do it because of the way the snap packs work. I don't think you need to go out and get this card right now. I think it is more likely a break glass in case of emergency type of card. There are plenty of decks where this does absolutely nothing. There are plenty of decks where it's really, really good. Specifically against activates. Activates a lot of the time want to be used late, right? You want to do your activates on the final turn of the game. Bullseye, Invisible Woman, and they just kind of sit there. This is a really good card against that. And if that becomes a more dominant mode of the game, I think that this is very reasonably the kind of thing that would see a ton of play. The problem is, it's almost like they nerfed away the metagame where this card would be relevant. They nerfed away the Invisible Woman first steps deck, and now this card is a solution looking for a problem. And I think that's the interesting dynamic here, where if it gets a problem, it will be a good solution. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. I've been KMBest. You've been phenomenal. And I will see you in the next one. I'm not sure this needs to be I'm not sure this needs to be a Supergiant deck. What the hell does play school? I'm gonna snap is what I'm saying. Do I Supergiant this or no? Saying no. I do, I just don't do the Cosmic Ghost Rider under there. The Cosmic Ghost Rider happens on my final turn. Yeah, I'm Cosmicing on 6. That's so fucking gross, man. Holy shit. Oh my god, a bug. Jesus Christ. What the fuck? Horrified on these turns. It doesn't make sense. Do I just have to have the snipe shield up forever? Keep it. Play your Sam Wilson, fucker. That's what I fucking thought, dude. Ah. So, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, this is very clearly just this, right? They just leave, presumably.
The throne. We are the future.
Well, good news, bad news time, I suppose. We'll take it. All right, we just need more of those things to happen. I was aware of the potential for Magneto. I wasn't concerned about it because of what happened, but it's possible I should have been concerned about it in a world where there's a world where I was probably supposed to play like a 2-3 middle instead of the Killmonger so it didn't get pulled by Magneto, you know? There's a world where that probably was supposed to happen. I'm just grateful I didn't get sniped. I'm just pathetically grateful I got to play a real game there, honestly. Ouch. So if you're doing this, what the hell are you? Mystique. I can't say I have the slightest clue. Can't say I understand it at all. I don't get it. Okay, I see the Wong. I see the Mystique. Okay, it's a good thing we have the Shaw there. Cool Shaw, dude. Okay. Okay. Nice. Okay. They drew their entire deck, and that is what they did. We know the Mystique was the last card, because we got it on the copycat. So they drew their whole deck, and that's what they did. They were holding their Wong play for the Mystique, which seems not right. It seems not like the correct move. Snappable? I agree it's snappable. I don't want them to... You often hold Bob? Yeah. I don't want them to snap me if they can. If they snap me, they must have gotten something really stupid here, yeah? Oh, no, they're just moving the Bob, right? I kind of don't want to shuffle because we know the gore is on the bottom, right? So we'll just play. We snap this back. Gladiator doesn't shuffle, but the gore is big enough to live, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think the gore just lives.
I want the throne.
Don't fuck me, dude. Okay. So now they're drawing the gore.
I am Iron Man.
And it's just a question of which of these copies they got. Do we snap this back? Pretty scared, honestly. Let's lose 8. Fuck this.
You won't need this anymore.
Math. That is horrifying, but we mathed it. Didn't. I'm sad. I should have left, and I'm pissed that I didn't. If vision goes right, then you die with Bob jump mid. Yeah, but there has to be a way to get to a 50-50 is largely the point that I'm making. There's definitely a way to get to a 50-50 that we didn't do. Vision right is 50. Play noted. Hey, it made my lizard bigger. I do not know how I lose this game. This an open stream into retreat angle or an open stream into the most insane play of all time angle? Say. can say. Anyway, probably... Oh my god, dude, just leave. Holy fuck. Making me... Alright, so we're getting Shang here is my only possible assumption. Get it. Okay. Okay.
Victory.
Every time I've played Yoda, he's had the best draw I've literally ever seen. I've literally never seen anything that isn't him hugely fucking my face. Kind of incredible. If he plays a Fenris here, we just fucking die? Okay. Well, we don't just fucking die, but it ain't good. Christ. Is this a snap? Fender's been to fill. Yeah, that's sort of where my head is at. Cannonball. Wait, I'm waiting. His face downs cannot be Negasonic. We know that because it was discarded. It's the card he got back. He has a Negasonic in hand. We know it's a Negasonic he has in hand. We know that. So these are two other cards. We can kill the thing, right? Yes.
I want the throne.
We lost?
I want the throne.
We won. had ways to beat both of those plays, I think. Interesting that they would go for that. Bob moves after, right? Bob moves after, yeah.
Oh, snap.
So how do I want to handle this? Is this just... What's our angle here? I think it's just play Cannonball mid and then Negasonic wherever else. Cannonball mid, we move the Mercury into that later. Yeah? Where's the big one? Nice. Yikes. Christ. Dude, the null went ape shit. Good God.